Hi, Karen with you today. Thank you so much for joining me. I have a scrapbook layout for White with One challenges, and I am completing the February challenge with that gorgeous, gorgeous pink mood board. I am not normally into pinks, but I have to say I loved working with this challenge, and I've started using more pink lately as well, just as, as a side. I am going to be using a cut file for this layout, which I will talk about a little bit later. I want to talk directly, firstly, about the background that I'm pulling together for this one. So it's going to be fairly mixed media heavy, just in terms of water that's going onto the page. So I've put some pencil lines just so I can give myself a bit of an idea of where my cut file is going to land, so I can start planning out where my mixed media is going to go. So I start off with the packaging technique, which is just adding and using some spray onto a piece of packaging. I keep all of my ephemera packaging, so I've got a huge pile, so it's always there for me. And I just smushed that across in a couple of spots, and then I started thinking that I wanted it to be more of a watercolor wash. So I didn't really need to do the packaging technique. I then start to add some water to the page and directly spray onto the page. And I absolutely used so much water on this, it wasn't funny. I have clear gessoed this white cardstock as well, quite heavily, because I did know I wanted to use a lot of water. I always find, I know that lots of people talk about this about gesso, but I certainly do have that same opinion. It allows that freedom of being able to either remove things if you feel that you've gone a little bit too far. It actually gets you to be able to have the inks or sprays or paints to run slower than what it would normally do if it was actually without gesso, which sounds strange, but it does actually slow it down, so you can be a little bit more prescriptive, I guess, around where sometimes the liquid will land. So I just started to add layers. You would have seen me there add some white paint. So what I wanted to do is to give a bit of a marble effect. So to do that, I just put an extra bit of water down and just splunked a little bit of white acrylic paint. That is just cheap white acrylic paint that I got at a craft store, and then allowed that to smush around the page. Now I did need to use a brush a couple of times just to get it to smush around a little bit, and I really love that effect. What I'm doing now is adding in and using this stencil that I had in my stash as well, and putting some hearts. I mean, this page was all about hearts for me. I was using the hearts from the mood board, and I thought, let's go to town, let's use some hearts. Spoiler alert, these come off. I really like the stencils and I really like the hearts, but that did not go. Look at that. It didn't work. It absolutely did not work. It made it all too busy. And one of the good things about using gesso on the page is before it all dried, I could take that up with a spatula, and I decided to keep some of it on there to give it a bit, and that toned down some of that pink as well on the page. So I actually really liked how that ended up turning out, and now you can't see any of the hearts. And I do come back in with some splatters, and that is just directly using the nozzle from the spray as well. And I loved how that turned out. So the cut file that I'm using today is, of course, a cut to you cut file. For those of you who've seen any of my videos, you would know that I'm on the design team for Cut to You, and it's absolutely my favorite cut file store by bar none. So I always use Gwen's cut files, and this particular one is called Heart Drop, and it is so gorgeous. I love how with cut files you can either make them large, or I really love how this was the predominant part of the page, but I could just slot my photo in amongst it as well, and it didn't overtake the photo. Well, I don't think it does anyway. So to back my cut file, I've used some pattern paper from B. Artie's Chit Chat collection. And with some of the hearts there, you'll see the hearts that have got the two hearts in the one. So I've used the patterned paper in the middle, the smaller heart, and then the next heart around it is actually has some vellum. So you can see, I wanted everything to be able to, you could see through some of that to the mixed media. I also didn't stick down all those smaller sections down either onto the cut file or onto the page because I wanted my photo to be able to slot straight in. I have backed my photo too with some tissue paper, which is just from my stash, just basic tissue paper, nothing special, just to give it a little bit of a break between the layers there. Once I'd worked through that, I decided I just went through my stash. That's one of the great things about working with a challenge. This is what I love about them. I'm not really a pink girl, but man, I found a lot of pink in my stash. So I really was able to really start to, I had so many choices. You'll see there that I had some flowers to the left of me there, but these hearts are what sang to me really. These were gifted to me by a beautiful friend. She knows who she is. So thank you so much recently. And I love how these turned out. So I just decided to nestle those in amongst the hearts of the cut file as well. And just a few basic embellishments on the page, and that was pretty much it. So it came together quite quickly once I decided which ones I was going to use. I do add a little bit of thread up on the top left hand side there. It was feeling like it was a little bit lonely up the top there, and I needed a little bit more interest on the page. So underneath that epoxy sticker, I also add in some thread. And I finish off with a title. This photo is a photo of me and my sisters. It was taken a few years ago, and we don't take a lot of selfies with the three of us in, so I love it when I get a chance to scrap us, and this worked perfectly for that. And that's pretty much the layout. I'll have some close-ups and the final layout up here just any moment as I'm flipping through looking for all my letters. That is my basket of random letters. I do not know where these letters came from. I think it might be from, I want to say Hip Kit Club from years and years and years ago. I don't subscribe to them at the moment. So yeah, I no idea how long I've had those letters. But this is one of the great things about challenges, like I was saying before. I will leave a link in the section, the description box below, on how you can find out how you can enter that challenge. And I would love it if you joined us. I know that we've had quite a few entries already this month, which is fantastic. Thank you so much, as always, for joining me today, and I will see you next time. Bye for now.